What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the economic calendar moving forward. Talk about why tomorrow is going to be a very important day, which you should be watching for as time goes on. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. Not to mention 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. The offer ends very soon in just about 8 hours from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So I just wanted to say we had a very, very crazy day today. The market started off very choppy, very sideways, then started approaching Powell's speech. I said to be careful because whatever Jerome Powell says will cause a lot of volatility. The market dumped really hard when he was speaking. Then we got a monstrous pump. We pumped like 6 points pretty fast. And then, SPY is still holding up very well. So we held above our 20 EMA. We didn't close below it 2 times in a row. And this is a good sign that the market may attempt to try to get back up to all-time highs. So what's going to happen from here? What is my view of the markets? I wanted to make this video a little bit different from usual. So I'm going to talk about what I think is going to happen tomorrow, but also for the near term for the markets. My view is very simple. Okay. You don't have to be an expert to figure this out. The market is dictated by algorithms and cycles. Okay. Why do I say that? Because historically, we do have a lot of patterns that tend to perpetuate. So, what's going to happen is it's very simple. The short term is looking bullish. The market may try to go a little higher, maybe going for all time highs, may try to push in this upper range. Okay. That's for the next week or so. It might remain elevated. But seasonality is going to kick in. The cycle is going to kick in. I've been making lots of videos about this. October tends to be bearish, and I think the market is going to get a big rejection. I think the market's set for a big correction, a little, a nice sized pullback that's going to be coming. And I think it's going to be coming as we get closer to the election. So I think for the short term, we're bullish, but for the medium term, we are more bearish. That's my view. And I'm going to explain more about that in just a couple of minutes. So why did the market do what it did? What happened today with Jerome Powell's speech? This guy is back. What does he have to say this time? So he gave the same speech again about how the economy is doing well, everything's okay. He has a lot of confidence in the strength of the economy, and he's very confident that inflation is going to continue to cool down. Now, there have been some uncertainties about that, considering a lot of tensions rising in the Middle East, but he still holds the same view nonetheless. He claims that when the Fed is essentially cutting by 50 basis points like they did before, it should not be interpreted as a sign that the future moves are going to be as aggressive. He's not kind of implying they're going to do that again. And when he said that, the market didn't really like that as much. He also mentioned that the Fed has no preset course. That means that the Fed is not saying that, hey, we're for sure going to be cutting rates again by 50 basis points or 25 basis points for the next meeting, which is right after the election. He's not guaranteeing anything like that. He's just saying that they're basically waiting to see what the data tells them to get a lot more certain. And that's why we have to not make assumptions about what they're going to be doing. So it's a very, very strong possibility they're going to be cutting again. Like that's very, very likely. Okay. But we don't know if it's going to be 25 or 50 basis points. Powell is saying it depends on the data. He is still instigating that the economy is doing relatively well, and he thinks that inflation is going to continue to fall and the economy is still strong. That's his view. I don't agree with him on that, but he has to say what he has to say to keep the market cool. When Jerome Powell said whatever it is he had to say, the market went once again near all-time highs. We saw a nice pump on SPY, also seeing the market holding up very, very nicely. So that's why the market did what it did. Now, for something else, I just want to mention that when we approach tomorrow, we have more data coming out. Tomorrow is going to be the first day of October. A new cycle will be coming to the markets very soon. So we have the jobs numbers coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time and some manufacturing numbers a little bit before that. So what do I think is going to happen? So basically, the market's going to open tomorrow as it normally does. And then at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 15 minutes after market open, we have the manufacturing numbers for the PMI report. Might see a little bit of volatility here. But the main time to watch for volatility is going to be 10 o'clock a.m. because we have very important jobs numbers. We have jobs openings, we have jobs quits, and manufacturing new orders. So look for some volatility because of the ISM data and the JOLTS job openings report. So be prepared for a high volatility at 10 o'clock a.m. tomorrow. After that, we have a bunch of Fed speakers. We have Bostic, Cook, Barkin, Bostic again, then Collins all giving speeches throughout the day. So look for some more of these Fed speakers. That's going to be very important for the way things end up moving. So be ready for all of this. The main time for volatility is the 10 o'clock a.m. hour, 30 minutes after market open tomorrow. Look for volatility. After Jerome Powell's speech, the market's now leaning towards a 25 basis point cut, as Powell said. Once again, there's no guarantee for what they're going to be doing, but the market still got bought back up. So it's still, once again, in favor of there being a big cut that's coming, some kind of cut by 50 or 25 basis points. And then the market's at extremes. Greed is making up the majority of sentiment. I believe the market's in a topping process, but there's no guarantee the top is in yet. That means that, yes, the market could push a little bit more. It's possible. But because we're at extremes, there's going to be a big correction coming soon. I believe it's going to be coming soon. We may have to wait another week or two for it to really start. But for now, that's my general view. Momentum is still at extreme greed. We still remain bullish looking at the charts. The put to call option ratio is dipping really low to these low levels. That tends to suggest that the market's going to top very soon. And then finally, volatility is still neutral, stuck in the middle. We'll see when the VIX finally gets that breakout. So what do I think is going to happen? What's my view for tomorrow? We got a very, very nice amount of volume. We got a lot of buyers that stepped in. So I think that for tomorrow specifically, the market could attempt to go up to all-time highs, and SPY could be testing 575. If we break that, we could get closer to 576, then 577. We'll be watching every single one of those dollar amounts as we break all-time highs. We had a nice flag that was forming, and we managed to reclaim our 20 EMA, which is a bullish signal for SPY. We held above our 20 EMA again, and we bounced just above our 50 EMA. So this suggests that SPY may attempt to go a little bit higher, going for new all-time highs. And I think what's going to happen is very simple. We could attempt to break 575. If we do break it, I'd say between 575 and 580 is going to be a dangerous area. I think the market's going to top around that range. Maybe, it is possible it goes a little higher. I'm not 100% sure about where it's going to top, but I think we're going to try to go a little higher. And then once we find our top, okay, there's going to come a time when we completely flip in the opposite direction. I think it's going to be coming in October. At least by the second week of October, we should be looking for the correction to really show. And SPY should not be at these levels. I think it's going to be looking for a lot of these lower levels. So that's my general view. I think we will eventually come down. I made videos in the past, especially during my weekend videos, about why I think a correction is coming. So you guys can rewatch those about the cycle analysis I'm seeing. I'm not going to go over all the details right now, but I just want to say that for the second half of October, I do expect downside. There's going to be a big downside move coming, and that's what the market is preparing for. SPY is going to revisit 565, the 560s, 550s, all the way down here. Our 200 EMA should be revisited in the 555 area. We're going to be coming back down here by then the end of October. But for now, we could continue to push closer to 575, if not above that, to new all-time highs on SPY before we see a much bigger move to the downside. All right, same thing with ES. ES is what's dictating a lot of this volatility. There is a big bearish divergence that's continuing to develop. The keyword is it's continuing. That does not necessarily mean it continued or it's done developing. It's still developing. So I think this could attempt to go to all-time highs. The 58.25 area could be coming. And we're going to be looking for this liquidity grab to continue to push us higher. Do I think this is a real massive pump? I don't think so. You could interpret this as a fake pump. We're going to see a fake pump once again to new all-time highs. We could even hold up here for a short period of time. But what's happening is the institutions are repositioning. They're getting ready for this big pump. They may even try to push us to all-time highs only because they're getting ready to short the market back down very soon for October. That's what I believe is most likely going to be happening. It's very, very simple. We still have this giant gap to fill on ES, which would easily drag SPY into the 560s or well below that. And on top of that, this gap is going to fill eventually on ES in October. So it's very simple, okay? Very, very simple. We're going to basically, for this week, we could push a little bit higher thanks to Jerome Powell, maybe because of the job openings, whatever the data is. We hit the 5,800s, go a little higher, then eventually we start falling as we get into October, and then we will eventually come down to fill that gap, or even drop much lower than that. But that's what my view is. It's very simple. I think there's more upside coming temporarily before we see more downside. For Tesla, we're going to likely see a push tomorrow because, first off, Jerome Powell pumped the markets. The market's going to try to push higher. And secondly, the inverse head and shoulders may try to complete for that 265 to 270 area. We could push higher into the higher 260s. Why is that? Because tomorrow is going to be the last day before deliveries. So we have tomorrow as a full day. And then on Wednesday, the day after that, we have, before the market opens, very close to open, Tesla announcing their Q3 deliveries reports. That's going to be very important for the share price and what we see for the future of the company. So be prepared for that, guys. It's going to cause a lot of volatility. Tesla's going to make a massive, massive move. I can't wait to see how things end up developing from here. We'll look for more upside on Tesla, and we'll see how things go. For tomorrow, look for a push for 265, if not the all-time high. Sorry, not the all-time high. I'm thinking of SPY. The high is over here, guys. So excuse me about that. They're not the all-time high, just the high up here. I would love to see Tesla go to all-time highs tomorrow, but that's just ideal. It's not going to happen. So I think we're going to be going to the highs up here very, very soon. And then, whatever happens is going to depend on delivery. So we'll be waiting for that. For uh, Nvidia, Nvidia is attempting to rebound. Nice inverse head and shoulders. We held support just above our 200 EMA. So I think this might try to fill this imbalance for 124 by tomorrow. So look for some upside as we're forming a nice flag. But there will be likely downside coming in October with seasonality kicking in. So for now, we're going to try to push, but I just want to say this move is not going to last forever. So be prepared for that. Look for 124 for tomorrow. For Bitcoin, if we're bullish, we want to break out past 63,800 to start pushing higher. And for bearish, we want to see 63,000 flat end up breaking. My gut tells me we're going to try to hold the 62,800 area, try to push up for 64,000. It's possible we try to rebound for this, but we'll see if we get a big rejection, start dipping or not. The 4-hour is looking a little bit bearish on Bitcoin, but this could try to rebound thanks to Jerome Powell and some of the things that he has said. For other factors out there, we have NQ. NQ has kind of like a head and shoulders like structure, but I don't think that this is going to play out as nicely as some people may think. We're holding support. We actually closed above our 20 EMA. So that's a sign it's going to try to rebound instead. So instead of focusing on the pattern, focus more on the trend, the direction. I think just like SPY, by the second half of October, this is going to be correcting. But before that, this thing is going to most likely try to push higher. So for now, we're going to look for a liquidity grab. This was our liquidity grab down here at the 50 EMA. And we're looking for basically 20,400 to be tested. We also have this imbalance up here. So I think 20,400 is coming, and we're going to try to break through those highs. We'll see what kind of reaction we get after that. For the QQQ, we basically have this 486 area as our support. If this holds, we're looking for basically 490 plus. If that breaks, we also have this gap to fill up here. I think we haven't fully filled this gap. So I think 490 is coming, if not above that, to 490, 494, very close to where this high is. Look for 490 to fill this imbalance tomorrow. We will see if we break through that or not. To be bearish, you want to see 486 break. My gut feeling is the same. The market will push for 490, maybe even try to continue to pump. We could even see the QQQ approach its highs. It's very possible off a breakout from this flag. But whether or not the move continues will depend on different pieces of data. And also, seasonality will kick in by the second half of the month, and we will be coming back down later on. For Aapl, we're bullish. The market's going to try to go higher. Aapl looks like it's going to try to break past 233. If this breaks, we have a cup and handle like structure. I could see this trying to break out for the highs for 235 and eventually 237.5. If we end up losing 230, we're looking for a dip back down to 228. So this is favoring upside nonetheless. So expect more upwards momentum to be coming. That's once again favoring the upwards direction. Whether or not this lasts, in my opinion, I think seasonality will kick in and Aapl will eventually start dumping, but that's going to be in the second half of the month. For others out there, we have Palantir. So Palantir has a head and shoulders like structure, but it's not ready to fall yet because the big guy, Jerome Powell, ended up pumping the markets very, very nicely. So I wouldn't be surprised if we continue with this trend as we held our 50 EMA. We could be looking for 37.5 tomorrow, maybe closer to 38 if we break that. 37.5 to 38 is likely coming. We'll see if we break through that or not. But then we could reject and make our move back down. My view is simple. We're going to pump temporarily. It could even last for a week. But then very soon, as we get into the second half of October, I expect a downside to start at least by then at the latest. And that's going to lead to more downside as time goes on. For Supermicro, I called almost exactly where this thing would be going. I called out the 430 area that's coming. I called out 427.5 to 440, very close to where this, in between these EMAs. That's where we went to before we saw this rejection. So it's still a little bit weak compared to the markets. This may continue to be range bound. We did get that big news about the DOJ investigating them. So with this rejection coming, this could continue to dip back down. It still looks kind of weak. I think 400 could be retested. So unfortunately, it's not doing that great of a job of holding up. Rivian's on a bit of a downtrend right now. We're rejecting off our key supports and resistance levels. So I want to say that we got some bad news. I remember reading about something. Not good news has come out as we're seeing a lot of investigations going on as well. So we're looking for basically 11.53 is our resistance, not to mention 12.13. And we have support down here around this 11 area. So I think we could try to rebound for this 11.5 area tomorrow morning, hold up with the market in the 11s, and eventually start to continue this downtrend as we remain bearish, excuse me. For so far, we're kind of in the middle. We're just consolidating right here. I think we consolidate tomorrow. We retest 8, just consolidate for a bit, but then we will eventually start dipping as we have these imbalances to fill. It could be waiting for earnings, so we'll give that some time. The Russell is looking at a bullish cross in the PPO. So if we lose 220, we're looking for 218. If we hold above that, we're looking for 222. Might try to push for 222, maybe a little bit higher, then come back down. Consolidate for a bit before it starts dipping lower. So watch for that very carefully. I'm going to be looking for 222 consolidation, then a dip as the most likely case. That's my view of the IWM. For AMD basically has this resistance to watch for at 165. Our support's at 162.43, followed by 157. I think we could try to rebound for 165, maybe a little bit higher than that. Then we could start dipping lower towards the lower 160s. That's going to be the most likely case for AMD. So watch to see if that ends up being the case. For ARM, we're making lower highs right over here. I think we could attempt to push for 144, a little bit above that to the imbalance. 144 to 145, then we could reject and start dumping for 141. So watch and see if that ends up being the case. That's going to be very key for us. For coin, we're dipping right over here. I think we could. It depends if we could hold this 20 EMA or not. So 178 is going to be key support. If we hold this, we could rebound for 184 and then reject. If we lose this, we're going to be dumping to 173. So watch 178. Do we hold this or not? It's possible we hold this rebound, but then we dip lower later on. Still looks kind of weak compared to the market after bearish news. Amazon's also at key support. I know it's a little hard to see. Let me just see if I have a line drawn here. Basically, 184 to 185 is going to be our support zone. If we hold the 184s, we could try to rebound for 188. If we lose 184, I think we dip all the way down to 182, then 180 on Amazon. So we're just range bound right now. It's still kind of weak. We could attempt to pop things to Powell tomorrow, but then it's going to likely dip. So it still looks kind of weak in terms of its trend to me. Now, Meta has a head and shoulders like structure, and we're trying to ride our 20 EMA. Will the head and shoulders play out, or is this going to do the opposite? So far, it's holding support, so it could attempt to try to start to fill the imbalance above. If we break past 172.5, we're going to be looking for 176. I'm sorry, 576, excuse me, guys. If we reject off 572.5, it could be coming back down to 566. We have a head and shoulders. We're kind of stuck in between these zones, so give this the time it needs. I think we could attempt to go higher, but then we'll see if we get a rejection or not. So be very patient nonetheless. We will see how this develops. For other factors out there, we have Microsoft, which is on a bit of a downtrend right over here. We have this resistance around this 430 area, and we have support all the way down here around 424. I think that we're just range bound between 424 and 430 for the time being. So we could attempt to go to 430, dip back down to 425, come back and just continue to trade sideways as time goes on. If we do lose 424, we could dip lower, but I don't expect that to happen. I think we're just going to be range bound. So give this the time that it needs. It's just indecisive for now, so we'll see which way it breaks. Google looks more bullish thanks to Jerome Powell all over again. So I think we could be looking for basically 168. If that breaks, we're going to likely get closer to 170. So look for more upside potential in this chart. Could continue to push temporarily. Whether or not this lasts, though, depends on a lot of different factors. I still believe in the October correction that's coming by the second half of it. So give it some time. For a few more things, CJT is trying to rebound thanks to Powell. So this could be looking for 18 very soon. Looks bullish to me as we got a nice accumulation. So look for 18 very soon as long as we hold above 16.8. The VIX tried to rebound only to reject. If the VIX does not hold 16.64, we could be looking for 16.270. I think it's possible the VIX is about to reverse, but it's going to dip first. So it's going to dip here, then the trend could change, and then it's going to start popping again. So look for some downside in the VIX temporarily before this thing starts breaking out. And we'll see how the market does. For the 10-year, we're trying to turn bullish. We have this imbalance to fall all the way up here around this 3.9 area. Jerome Powell's speech did cause us to go up because, once again, the market is now favoring a 25 basis point cut. That could change the closer we get to FOMC, so I'm not too worried about that. And the dollar is kind of flat right now. We're at resistance at 101 to 100.8 basically. So we'll see if it rejects in this area or not. We're still kind of stuck in this range, so give this the time that it also needs. But if we get this rejection, we could be dipping back down to these imbalances towards the lower 100s. So I'm also going to give this the time that it needs. With that being said, guys, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Hope you guys have a great day. Just know the market is bullish for now. We could push higher thanks to Jerome Powell pumping the markets. Yes, we could be breaking all-time highs. Yes, we could be looking for many stocks to run, like Tesla, the QQQ, SPY, and the others. For now, we are looking bullish going into tomorrow. But like I said in my previous videos, I do not believe the move is going to last. I think that as we approach the second half of October, there's going to be a big correction that's coming. I think that this is giving us a shorting opportunity. So for those who are interested in swing trading, just know there's this pump that's coming. Market's holding up very, very well. Be prepared for more upside tomorrow in an attempt to push. And whether or not this lasts, it depends on seasonality and also some of the data that comes out tomorrow. I think we're still going to try to push anyways, but then we will see if the market gets a rejection. So look for some upside. Look at the reaction after the JOLTS job openings report comes out. But like I said before, the main move is going to be the corrective phase. That's what the market is preparing for as we get into the second half of October. All right. So thank you for listening. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys very soon in the next one tomorrow before the market opens. Until then, do not forget about the Moomoo link. This actually ends in about 8 hours from now. So be ready for that. Until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night and peace out.